Free World Initiative has joined other civic organizations that want to hold the government accountable for failing to act against gender-based violence. Activists have again pleaded with the government for decisive action to help put a stop to the killing of women and children once and for all. The Solidarity Fund has been launched to mobilize society and funding to fight the scourge. But is this enough? Well, to discuss this further, I'm joined by the CEO of the Free World Initiative, Lebo Motau. A very good afternoon to you, Lebo. Thank you so much for joining us. I suppose that is the question. Solidarity Fund helping to mobilize to fight the scourge again. You know, we are talking about this every single day, if not every single week, if not every single month of every single year. And yet, here we are again. Today, you and I, myself, Morena from eNCA, yourself, Lebo Motau from Free World Initiative, saying the government is not doing enough. Is it enough that what they're doing? Solidarity Fund, let's just start there. Is what they're doing right now enough?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us. You know, the president keeps talking about these funds that are going to be pledged, that are going to be put into gender-based violence fight, but us as civil society don't actually get to see these funds. So the question is, as much as we talk about these solidarity funds, where are the funds in the first place? I'd say that is number one. If the funds were trickling down to us on the ground, the people who are working, to try and help us to ensure that we are actually getting work done and try and shift the focus as well. South Africa is a very curative nation, and we have been for the longest time, especially as civil society and especially as women and survivors and victims, saying that we need to start paying more attention to preventative measures. What needs to be done to ensure that GBV is prevented? What needs to be done to make sure that our country is no longer the rape capital, the GBV capital of the world, is no longer, you know, the fifth most dangerous country for women to live in? So those are the type of things that we'd like to see. So we are saying that no, not enough is being done in terms of prevention of gender-based violence, as well as the incarceration of perpetrators and reforming of perpetrators.
What then should the government be doing? Let's put the money aside. And I mean, I know somebody will be like, well, it's that money you're putting aside that actually should be part of this conversation. But, you know, for the purposes of the context here, let us put the money aside. Let's put the Solidarity Fund aside and say that the president needs to actually do some serious, tangible work. He needs to put boots on the ground or boots in people's houses. He needs to, when he does find the perpetrators, that he never lets them leave prison. What needs to happen tangibly that'll have us, as you say, off that top, the summit of the list of the rape capital of the world, the GBV capital of the world, one of the top nations where a woman cannot even live, let alone walk on the street? What can the president, outside of his SONA promises, really do that'll yield tangible results?
Number one, I have to say I was absolutely appalled, especially after we just had the gender-based violence summit in November, for there to be literally half a page to be talked about gender-based violence at the SONA. That was ridiculous. And also I had to watch the SONA and I saw so much violence towards women, so much disrespect towards women. And that is where we go and say leadership needs to be held accountable. You know, our nation is a reflection of what government is. When we saw so much disrespect and violence happening within Parliament, that for me was disgusting. So when we talk about what needs to be done, we do need to re-educate and start re-educating in terms of toxic masculinity, even toxic femininity. So re-education is step one. We need to see the president putting more emphasis in terms of how we treat each other as humans. We need to see the fact that, like you're saying, incarceration, we've got less than an 8% conviction rate when it comes to perpetrators. We've got so many backlogs when it comes to the DNA samples. But what we're saying is that we need the victims to believe the first time that they speak, and for the steps to be taken so that the perpetrator is removed out of the household. Our shelters are not in conditions to be housing women and children. Therefore, a lot of women are staying in these abusive relationships because they have nowhere to go. So we need need to flip the script and say that, no, government, don't make women get out of their places of comfort, but remove these perpetrators. That's what we're saying. We are saying that in terms of economic empowerment, he keeps talking about the fact that 40% will be going to women for procurement. This is not enough. We know that as South Africa, women are leading our households. Most women are the heads of households. Most women are the ones who are raising children. So for us to only be putting that little amount in terms of how much is going to women, that is not enough. We are saying that unemployment rates are the most highest in terms of women, especially black women. What is being done to make sure that our black woman is economically empowered, which is pillar number 5 of the NSP? We are saying that training, sensitization training, what is being done to teach, number one, teachers, because this is starting to happen so early, that what is being done to teach and educate teachers how to identify children who may be in abusive situations? What is being done to ensure that children who may have been abused are healing, because hurt people. So this cycle is just being perpetuated by the fact that not enough is being done to focus on the psychological aspect of people who were raised in abusive homes. South Africa, as I said earlier, is the GBV capital of the world. So most households are very violent households. We need to focus on the healing. We come from a violent nation. Our history is a very violent history. Therefore, what has been done to make sure that that healing is actually taking place? Those are some of the things that we do need to see happening. But also, when we start thinking about women's empowerment, to see what are we doing to ensure that.
Oh man, that is unfortunate. This is a conversation that can never be interrupted by connectivity. And I mean, I would want to put it down to load shedding, of course, just disrupting that connection. But fortunately, we did have somewhat of the gist of what Lebo Motau was saying. But I'm going to try her once again, because like I said, this is a conversation that I could have an entire hour, if not a whole day, having this one. Lebo, do we have you there still?
I am here.
Fantastic.
I didn't realize that we had been cut.
Yeah, no, it was cutting, and now it was disrupting the point that you were making. But I think we had actually gotten a lot of the questions that you were asking about what is being done about this. But now unfortunately, time is also against us, but I want to throw this one to you to say, or ask at least, willingness. Do you feel, like you were saying, that you saw it in Parliament, lawmakers, policymakers, people that are essentially leading this country could not even keep things under control in their own space? It was just abuse against each other, mostly against women as well. So already the example being given to people that are watching the policymakers, the people who are responsible for leading this nation, couldn't even handle themselves within themselves. So again, my question is there a willingness? Do these people who are responsible for the laws that we are asking to protect the women and children of this country, do they want to?
As a woman, I say no. Leadership has not shown any form of willingness to ensure that we are kept safe. As I said, I was appalled about the fact of how little time was given to gender-based violence. It was half a page in his speech and nothing in terms of addressing the real issues. The fact that a woman is killed every 3 hours in South Africa is not being addressed. The fact that a woman is raped every 25 seconds in South Africa is not being addressed. The fact that the conviction rates are so low. The fact that all these laws that they claim to be putting in place to ensure the women and children are kept safe are not actually being followed through. During the summit, he claims that this is now going to be seen as the pandemic that it is, yet everything takes precedence above the safety of women. Once again, I thought he would put more emphasis and more and highlight the plea that women and the LGBTQIA plus community have been crying about the fact that we are not safe, and nothing was said, nothing was said. He just keeps throwing us these numbers, yet not enough is being done in terms of training the police officers, in terms of ensuring that the response rate is faster when we cry out and say we are being abused. We still have so many people in leadership positions, in public office positions, who have been accused of being perpetrators of violence, yet they are still in positions of power. what is being done to show that leadership is saying, no, we need to make sure that as soon as a woman says that I have been violated, steps are taken to make sure that she is kept safe. We have a situation where one of the members of parliament murdered his own wife, and it took the whole from November, only got arrested in January. That shows to us as victims and as women that our lives do not matter in this country. And it's sad for me to say this, but this is what government and leadership is showing us on a daily basis when they keep ignoring the fact that the real pandemic that we're facing, the real national state of emergency should be going towards ending gender-based violence and femicide.
Lebo, I was saying as I was trying to bring you back online that this is a conversation that cannot be had in about 5, 6, 7 minutes. But unfortunately, the nature that is live television, conversations do have to continue. Other things do need to be looked at. But it doesn't stop here with myself and you from the Free World Initiative. This is something that we can have tomorrow. It's a conversation that continuously needs to be had because we come from a State of the Nation address where the head of state, as you have highlighted, only spoke about one of the greatest pandemics of the world and mostly of this country in just a half a page. So hopefully this conversation stays top of mind for every South African. But we'll leave it there with you. Thank you so much for joining us, Lebo Motau, the CEO of the Free World Initiative.